I had a conversation today with CUSIP.com over what it takes to get a CUSIP number, and we talk about legal entity identifier numbers, which included what a lot of these bad gurus are teaching about the GMEI utility. I've been saying for a while the GMEI utility, when you would type in numbers you think are your social, it don't apply to your social. You're just looking up a database. Now, listen to this. And before you comment on this video and say the DTCC got rid of the GMEI utility, you're missing the point. The GMEI utility was an LEI database. LEI stands for Legal Entity Identifier. So now, listen to the call.
Okay, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Now, what all is
Yes.
required to get a CUSIP number and or a legal entity identifier?
So for a CUSIP number, we need a preliminary offering document, like the prospectus or a private placement memorandum.
Okay. Now, for a legal entity identifier number?
Well, that's not required generally. It's only required if the company is subject to regulations. That would be like swaps reporting in the U.S. or MiFID trading in Europe. If that's not applicable to the company, then there's no need for the LEI.
Well, I know I see a lot of LEIs here that's listed here in the United States, like on the GMEI utility.
Yes.
Yes. So.
Yeah. Well, those are for companies that require an LEI, like I mentioned.
If they're doing business overseas, basically.
Well, for trading purposes over in Europe and also in the U.S. for swaps trade reporting, the LEI is required. Other than that, it's not required to have an LEI.
Okay. Now, what all is tracked with an LEI? What all information is tracked?
It's basic, like business card information on a legal entity that's involved with a finance.
So would it be tracking, say, if it's a private organization run under your, like a sole prop under your social or under a EIN, a tax identifier number, would that be attached to it or not?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not real. No, it doesn't provide that information. Just basic business card, like basic information about the legal entity.
Okay.
Their name, legal name, and address.
Yeah, because I'm looking at getting into banking, so that's why I'm looking at getting all this stuff. I know I've got to go get registered with the SEC and everything.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we do need supporting documentation, like I mentioned, for the CUSIP. When you submit the request, we do review it to see that it would be eligible or need a CUSIP.
Well, I know that I know I'm looking at getting a CUSIP because I'm looking at doing public securities and private securities. So I'm going to need a way to track those securities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what if you don't have a public offering, say it's not publicly traded on the stock market?
Well, then if it's a privately placed security, then like I said, that would be a private placement memorandum. Okay. We need some type of offering document for the securities.
Okay. So public would be if you're going to put it on the stock market or something. Okay.
It could be. It could be. Yes, that could be the case. It's
so,
not. Some public securities are not listed on a stock market, but so it can go either way for public security.
I know I had a conversation with the department. When you're issuing some kind of note, you got to pay on the note before you can actually register or record the note. And depending on the maturity date will depend on is it classified as a security or not. So that's why I was wanting to reach out to y'all. So when I have those moments when I am issuing a security, that I have a CUSIP that's able to be where it can be followed. So
Okay, but like I said,
is there anything else you can tell me that I'm not asking?
no, I'm just letting you know what the requirements are, what we would need to submit a CUSIP request. We need the offering document. And again, we do review each request to see if it's eligible or a CUSIP is needed.
Okay. So it would probably be better, I would think, before I do it, I probably should go get the bank side set up first. That's what I was
we'll need
originally thinking, so that way I have my prospectus and my banking documents, and then I can use that to apply.
Yeah, we need the offering document.
Okay.
And you can submit it we do have the application form on the CUSIP website. On the application form at the top, it does default to requesting an LEI. So if you don't need the LEI, you should select to opt out.
So if I'm not doing business at all overseas, I won't need an LEI, right?
Correct, or swaps trade reporting in the U.S. Correct.
Okay, swaps trades reporting, then I will. Okay. Well, that explains why there are so many LEIs in the United States, that they're doing swaps and trades.
Right, and also for European regulations, the LEI is needed. Yes.
Well, I know how the mortgage system works. I'm very intimately involved in that because I know when a promissory note is issued for the mortgage, the original lender does sell or trade the note to another company, and that's where they would need an LEI. So, okay.
That should be the case, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, but the LEI is not tied at all to any taxpayer identification number of any company. That's now would it be? Would you tie it to? Would you need a DUNS number?
No, that's the LEI and the DUNS. They're all separate identifiers. Correct.
So they're not linked together at all. Okay. That's answering a lot of my questions as I'm studying this so I can set things up. Okay. Well, I greatly appreciate your time.
Sure, you're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Now I want y'all to pay attention. Y'all just heard the first part of this video where I played the phone call talking to CUSIP.com. And we talked about CUSIPs and we talked about legal entity identifier numbers. I've laid out the evidence that the people teaching that crap, even though I understand DTCC got rid of GMEI, I get it. But there are other databases that track LEIs. That was never a way to see what was traded because that's not what it meant. Now you've also got this one guru I won't name saying run to Fidelity, find your CUSIP. I'll show you how to do it. No, that's not how it works. The secured party community says you have to have a minimum $100 million to trade on the open market. No, you don't. You just heard from their mouth part of the things you need to have to get a CUSIP number. And yes, I'm looking at actually doing that because I'm getting things set up to do that. I don't need $100 million to do it. And here's your evidence. This is listing requirements. This just came out April of 2023. You can go look this article up. You can scroll down here to right here. For example, the New York Stock Exchange requires firms to already have 1.1 million publicly traded shares outstanding with a collective market value of at least 40 million. That's just for that's just for national trade. The 100 million is for international trade worldwide, and it goes into the Nasdaq too. So stop listening to these gurus out there that are telling you go to Fidelity and do these steps. Go to the Treasury calculator, do these steps. And the state citizen people out there and American State National and the state national people saying the GMEI utility crap, and then they make it a big conspiracy that said, oh, we've uncovered it. Now they're getting rid of it. The DTCC is getting rid of the GMEI. No, it never meant what you thought it meant. See, the problem is everybody's living on hopium because they think they find this thing and it's all about them. That's not how it works. These international companies have subsidiaries. Is it possible they have more than one CUSIP? Yeah, we've seen evidence of that. They bundle these accounts because you went into Verizon and you create an account. So they bundle all these accounts into a security. That CUSIP is for that security, not for your social. See, the reason I know the stuff I know is I learn the rules and then I start calling the experts in the field and asking the right questions. The system is easy to understand if you just read. I ain't talking about read the guru written books. I'm talking about read what the government writes, what the attorneys writes. They tell everybody how it works. And yes, it takes work. It takes time. I've been at this 13 years. I know it takes time. And I'm on the verge of getting my own CUSIPs to track securities. I'm on the verge of doing a lot of things because I've now got confirmation on how to do these negotiable instruments. And I'll tell you now, almost all the gurus out there are not doing it right. They're missing a lot of steps. And I will not disclose who I talked to. Needless to say, he's retired and he used to be really high up in the financial system. So, y'all need to pay attention. If y'all don't start learning the rules, you're never going to be successful. The system is there for you to learn. And when you start asking the right questions to the right people, guess what happens? You get the right answers. So I hope this video wakes y'all up and y'all stop believing the lies.